Captain Jake Morrison sipped his morning coffee as the alarms blared. The mining station, Titan's Edge, usually tranquil, was now under siege. Weeks of quiet asteroid field work, extracting precious metals, had ended abruptly. "Captain, we're receiving a distress signal." Lisa Grant, their science officer and a recent addition to the crew, 6 months, announced. She was adept at her job, though perhaps a little overzealous in her fascination with alien life. Jake set down his coffee and headed to the main screen. The message arrived in fragmented pieces, a cacophony of strange sounds and what might have been words. The computer struggled to translate, failing to decipher the unknown language. "It's coming from the dead zone," Pete Collins, their ruggedly built chief engineer, interjected. The dead zone lay beyond the mining fields. "Nothing lives out there," he continued. "Not even humans." "Sir, I'm detecting a ship," Lisa said, her voice laced with excitement. "It's enormous, severely damaged." A dark shape drifted through space, longer than 3 human vessels combined. Strange protrusions, like the teeth of a gigantic beast, adorned its hull. Areas pulsed with a crimson glow, while others remained shrouded in icy darkness. "That's no human vessel," Pete murmured. Jake, with 20 years of space experience, had seen pirates, traders, and vessels from countless human colonies. This was something entirely different. Lisa, working furiously at her controls, reported, "The computer's beginning to understand their language. They're requesting assistance. Their vessel is failing." Jake contemplated his options. First contact with an alien race was usually handled by military or scientific teams. Captains like him lacked the training for such a scenario. But this ship cried out for aid, and they couldn't ignore it. "Pete, can we dock?" The engineer assessed the situation. "Their hull seems sturdy, though I can see an airlock, larger than ours." "Lisa, respond. We want to help." After several minutes, Lisa reported, "I've sent a message. Basic friendship signals and images conveying our desire to dock." Silence hung thick in the air. Then the alien ship answered. The voice was deep and resonant, like gravel grinding against metal. Their computer slowly translated the words. "You dare approach the warriors of Kethar. State your intent, or face annihilation." Jake glanced at his crew. Pete assessed their weaponry, a collection of mining lasers and outdated defense guns. Lisa appeared composed. "Reply that we're here to help," Jake said calmly. "Inform them that we've received their distress call." A swift response echoed back. "You acknowledge our plea." "Impossible. Your ships are toys, too small." Jake's temper flickered. "Tell them our size doesn't matter. We can help." Minutes ticked by as unfamiliar lights flickered on the Kethar vessel. An airlock, impossibly vast, opened. "They're granting us permission to dock," Lisa reported. "But they've warned against hostile actions. They are warriors. They will kill us if threatened." "Wonderful," Pete muttered. "Our new alien allies intend to murder us." Jake moved toward the airlock. "Lisa, bring your translation gear. Pete, gather your tools." "Sir, should we request backup?" Lisa asked. There was no response. 6 weeks away was the nearest military outpost. If these aliens intended to harm them, they could have done so already. Docking took an hour. The Kethar ship dwarfed their own vessel. Heavy footfalls echoed from the other side as the airlock connected. The door hissed open. Jake pictured aliens from movies and books, but the reality surpassed all expectations. A towering creature, 7 feet tall, clad in what appeared to be natural armor, and with 4 arms, stepped through. Commander Zir of the Kethar Empire. 2 similar figures followed. "I am Commander Zir of the Kethar Empire," he announced, the computer translating his words. "You are the weak ones who answered our call. I am Captain Morrison. This is my crew. We came to help." A long pause followed as Zir scanned the humans. "You are small, weak. Your ships are insignificant. How can beings like you assist the warriors of Kethar?" Pete, ever practical, inquired, What happened to your ship? Zia's eyes settled on the engineer. Our power core sustained damage. We fought shadow demons in the void between worlds. They severely wounded us before our escape. Lisa's translator struggled to keep pace with the alien narrative. Zar detailed creatures that lived in the inky blackness between stars. Beings that could vanish like phantoms, demolishing ships and driving crews mad with terror. We fought off a pack of them, Zephyr told them. 6 shadow demons that are terrorizing our outer colonies. We hurt them. They hurt us more. Our ship is dying. The demons remain. Concern deepened as Jake absorbed the story. These shadow demons sounded terrifying. Where are they now? Back in the void. But they will return. They always return. Pete already delved into the vessel's readings. Your power core is failing, but I might be able to repair it. Our technology differs, but energy is fundamental. A pause. You risk your lives to aid warriors. You know not what you do. People help each other, Jake affirmed. Zia hesitated. Come then, soft ones. See if your primitive technology can accomplish what Cathvar engineering failed to achieve. As they followed deeper into the alien craft, Jake pondered their path. Shadow demons were a grave danger, but the Cathvar needed help. Abandoning those in need was foreign to Jake Morrison. Inside the Cathar vessel, corridors resembled gigantic fortresses. The thick walls, sharp angles, and weapons mounts created a militaristic atmosphere. The red lighting cast a sinister glow. Your people seem unimpressed with us, Lisa said. Zar heard her. My warriors have conquered 12 star systems. They've faced opponents that would make your people run, but they've never encountered creatures like you, offering assistance in war. We're not offering to fight your demons, Jake countered. We're here to repair your ship. The same, responded Zia. A ship that cannot fight is a ship that dies. The engine room revealed a colossal Cathar power core, 10 times larger than any human design, riddled with damage. Pete whistled. What did this? He asked, examining the fractured metal. Shadow demon claws, stated Gorth, a scarred warrior. They access impossibilities. They tear machines from the inside. Lisa scrutinized the damage. The metal seems to have fractured from the inside. How is this possible? Gorth's scarlet eyes fixated on her. Shadow demons operate beyond the realm of ordinary matter. They traverse the spaces where reality splinters. Pete rallied his tools. I don't care if they're magical. This is still an engine. Engines can be fixed. He turned to Zia. I need your people to assist with these heavy components. Zia issued orders in their tongue. Cathvar warriors sprang into action alongside Pete. Jake found a quiet spot and activated communications. A message was dispatched to Titan's Edge Fleet Command, and a response arrived. Admiral Kate Brennan, a seasoned admiral, appeared on the small screen. Jake Morrison, what are you doing contacting Fleet Command? Your mission is asteroid mining. Jake detailed the distress call, the damaged ship, and shadow demons. Brennan listened intently. Shadow demons, she commented. Intriguing. Do you know what they are? A moment of silence. I'm sending assistance. The Friendship, carrying Dr. Alan Fox and a diplomatic team, was due in 18 hours. These aliens are warriors, Admiral, a report stated, hunted by entities that sound like nightmares. Perhaps a battle group, instead of diplomats, would be more suitable. Admiral Brennan, however, smiled. Trust me, Jake. Dr. Fox is precisely what we need for this. The communication ended, leaving Jake staring blankly at the screen. He couldn't fathom the Admiral's calmness regarding shadow demons, yet he'd learned to trust her judgment. Returning to the engine room, Jake found Pete wrestling with Gorthak over the most efficient method of reconnecting the power cables. Despite the language barrier, the engineers seemed to understand each other perfectly. How long? Jake asked. 6 hours, Pete replied. Their technology surpassed ours, but it followed fundamental principles. Zafar, observing his warriors taking orders from a human, murmured, "Your engineer knows his craft." 6 hours might be too long. He pointed to a screen. Long-range sensors still functioned. Something moved swiftly from the void. Lisa translated the alien symbols. 6 objects hurtled toward the system. The shadow demons, Zafar stated, in a voice underlying with fear, had found them. All activity ceased in the engine room as the Kethar warriors prepared for battle, their faces grim. This wasn't the usual combat preparation. These warriors knew they were facing death. "How long?" Jake asked. 4 hours, maybe less, Gorak replied. Pete, however, interjected. 6 hours minimum, possibly 8 for a proper job. Zafar drew a curved sword, its blade gleaming in the red light. "We fight and die with honor." "Perhaps not," Jake countered. "Help is coming." "What help?" Zafar demanded. "Your people. Know of these shadow demons." Jake admitted his ignorance, but stated that Admiral Brennan had not seemed surprised by the mention of them. Lisa reported the approaching objects. They weren't following the laws of physics, their speed exceeding light, with no recognizable energy signature. Gorak explained. Shadow demons traverse folded space, moving between worlds like stepping through doors. Contact with the friendship remained elusive. Whatever Dr. Fox and his team planned, it had to work. 2 hours passed. Pete worked frantically. Kethar warriors prepared for battle. Lisa announced 1 hour until arrival. Zafar rallied his troops, acknowledging the potential for demise, but emphasizing their courage as the Kethar. Fear, however, was evident. Then, a signal from the approaching friendship. Dr. Alan Fox's calm tone emanated from the screen. "Captain Morrison, I understand you're having trouble with the ethereals," Fox questioned, seemingly unperturbed. "The shadow demons. We'll soon remedy this." The communication ceased, leaving Jake more bewildered. Dr. Fox seemed to speak of old friends, not terrifying void creatures. The shadow demons arrived precisely on schedule. Reality began to unravel. The air thickened, red lights pulsed erratically. "They come," Zafar whispered. Fear visibly manifested on his face. Space itself bent. The 6 entities moved through space, not solid, not energy, like liquid darkness. Lisa reported impossible sensor data. These beings existed in dimensions beyond human capabilities. As one entity drew near, Jake felt a chilling grasp on his mind. Visions of cosmic loneliness and ancient, hungry darkness. Kethar warriors crumbled, their weapons falling uselessly. "Fight!" Zafar roared, but his voice wavered. The demons were subtly inflicting a mental torment. Even this terrifying reality couldn't match the fear of utter isolation. Pete reported engine troubles. The entities distorted the metal of the Kethar ship. The demons flowed around both ships and communicated. Lisa grasped at the meaning. The friendship was attempting to dock. Undeterred by the nightmare space, the friendship moved normally. How? Jake wondered. Dr. Fox's calm voice returned. "Stay calm. We will resolve this," and calmly explained the situation to his friends, the ethereals. "There's been a bit of a misunderstanding." The shadow demons were trying to communicate with the Kethar. On the main screen, Dr. Fox engaged in a conversation with empty air. Other humans on the friendship's bridge were similarly engaged, a conversation with nothingness. One demon then hovered near Dr. Fox, not attacking, but apparently engaging in sign language-like gestures. The demon responded in kind. "They're communicating," Lisa gasped. The doctor was speaking to the being. "Dr. Fox, What is happening? Jake questioned. Simply explaining the situation to our friends, Fox replied serenely. The ethereals had long sought contact with the Kethar. Time was running out. The shadow demons had arrived. Far more courteous than the shadow demons, wouldn't you agree? On the main screen, more of the shadowy entities drew closer to the bridge, but instead of attacking, they seemed to assemble for a meeting. Jake surveyed the Kavar bridge. The alien warriors still struggled with the mental effects, but the intensity diminished. Whatever Dr. Fox was doing, it was working. Captain Lisa commented, and starting to decipher some of the signals. They're not trying to harm us. They're attempting introductions. Zephyr, using the weapons console for support, hauled himself upright. Impossible. Shadow demons are destroyers. They've attacked our worlds for generations, have they? Dr. Fox's voice echoed through the communicator. Or have they been attempting visits, and you've been firing on them? A cold realization dawned on Jake. Doctor, are you suggesting these creatures are not hostile? Not at all, Captain. They're explorers and diplomats. Highly amicable ones, in fact. Once you know how to converse effectively. On the main view screen, the shadow demons began to change. Their forms became less chaotic, more defined. Jake could discern what might have been faces within the darkness, and gestures that suggested peaceful intent. The mental pressure on the bridge lessened. Kadvar warriors rose, appearing confused and ashamed. They were trying to communicate, Lisa marveled. All this time, they were simply saying hello. Zar stared at the screen, where the shadow demons moved in what Jake recognized as organized patterns. Dance patterns, not attack formations. Patterns of welcome. We've been battling them for 50 years, the alien commander spoke quietly. We thought they were invaders, and they thought you were being profoundly impolite for not answering their greetings, Dr. Fox replied cheerfully. But don't worry, that's why humans are here. We're quite adept at resolving such misunderstandings. Jake looked around the bridge, at Cathvar warriors who'd spent their lives fighting beings they thought were demons, only to discover they had been confronting diplomats. On the screen, entities of living shadow patiently awaited someone to teach them the proper handshake. This was shaping up to be the most extraordinary first contact in human history. Dr. Fox boarded the Cathar vessel with what appeared to be a simple metal briefcase. A small man, shorter even than Jake, with grey hair and a serene smile that never faltered. He was accompanied by 2 other humans from his crew, each bearing similar cases. Commander Zephyr watched their approach with profound suspicion. The alien warrior was still reeling from his encounter with what he termed shadow demons. These gentle creatures claimed to converse with the void hunters. How was this possible? It's all about the right tools and the right mindset, replied Dr. Fox, setting his briefcase on the deck and opening it. The devices within were a hybrid between a radio and a medical scanner. The ethereals do not communicate like most species. They share consciousness directly. Lisa leaned in towards the strange devices. That's exactly what was occurring to our minds. They were attempting to speak to us. Dr. Fox began to connect cables between his devices. Imagine someone trying to shake your hand by lifting you into the air. Good intentions, but executed poorly. Gortak remained vigilant, checking his weaponry, even as the immediate threat seemed to cease. Shadow demons have decimated entire colonies, driven thousands of our people mad. Have they? Dr. Fox inquired gently. Or did your people descend into madness apprehending the ethereals' attempt to establish mental contact? The madness was not caused by the ethereals, but by minds resisting their communication method. Jake watched the doctor meticulously work with his strange machines. How did humans discover how to talk to them? Mostly through trial and error. We encountered them roughly 30 years ago during deep space explorations. Some crews fell victim to the same madness affecting the Kthvar. But we had something your people lacked. What? Dr. Fox smiled. Stubbornness. And a xenobiologist named Catherine Webb, who refused to believe anything so dedicated to communication could be genuinely hostile. One of the doctor's devices pulsed with soft blue light. Patterns appeared on its screen, resembling brainwaves. "There," Dr. Fox stated contentedly. "I'm now connected to the local ethereal communication network. They are extremely eager to properly meet you all." Lisa stared at the machine. "This is impossible. How can you simply penetrate their consciousness? The same way you might employ a telephone to connect with a distant individual," Dr. Fox answered. "The consciousness buffer filters their communication, safeguarding minds unused to direct mental contact." Dr. Fox touched a control on his device. The air in the chamber shifted. Jake sensed a presence on the fringe of his thoughts, akin to someone politely knocking on a door, rather than breaking it down. Words formed in his mind, but they weren't his own thoughts. The voice was ancient and patient, like the murmuring of distant stars. "Greetings, small, warm ones. We have waited long to properly speak with you." Tsar stumbled back, his hands reaching for non-existent weapons. "The shadow demon speaks in my mind. Her name is Whisper of Distant Suns," noted Dr. Fox calmly. "She's been attempting to introduce herself to your people for over 50 years. A chuckle, imperceptible yet tangible, rippled through the mental transmissions. "We did not realize that the warrior people could not hear us adequately," the ethereal voice continued. "We believed their silence was deliberate rudeness." Lisa stared into the void, wonder filling her eyes. "I can sense her thoughts. How curious, like a scientist." "We are explorers," the voice confirmed. "We travel between realities, studying the exquisite complexity of physical existence. Your people are most fascinating." Gorak retreated toward the door. "This is unnatural. Minds shouldn't touch." "It is perfectly natural," Dr. Fox explained. "The ethereals exist partially outside normal space-time. Direct consciousness contact is their common mode of communication. Their politeness lies in limiting the connection. More ethereal presences, patient and inquisitive, materialized on the edges of perception." "How many of you are there?" "6 of us are here to greet the warrior people," replied Whisper of Distant Suns. "We hope to establish an embassy, as we have with your kind." "Embassy?" Zephyr's voice echoed with confusion. Dr. Fox nodded. "The ethereals have been humanity's allies for 20 years, assisting us through dangerous dimensional rifts, sharing knowledge of antiquated civilizations, and alerting us to cosmic dangers unseen." A profound shift altered Jake's perspective. "Those entities that attacked the Kthavar colonies, we attempted to deploy small teams to initiate communication hubs," the ethereal explained. "But the warrior people always attacked us." "Because you look like nightmares and you invade minds," retorted Gortak. A pause descended, followed by a perceptible sense of embarrassment from the ethereals. "We fail to realize that physical beings perceive us differently from how we perceive ourselves. To us, consciousness sharing is like your hand gestures or vocal tones. We meant no harm." Lisa was diligently employing her instruments to record the conversation. "This is astonishing. We're interacting with beings that coexist in numerous dimensions simultaneously." Dr. Fox adjusted his equipment. "Would you like to witness how the ethereals perceive themselves? I can modify the consciousness buffer to relay visual impressions." Before anyone could object, the room shimmered. Suddenly, Jake could see the ethereals as they viewed themselves, not dark, chaotic forms, but beings of living light, dancing within the void. Their shapes were constantly transforming, yet beautiful, akin to an aurora or flowing water. Utterly captivating. "Beautiful," Lisa whispered. Tsar stared in shock. "They aren't monsters. They're graceful," the Whisper of Distant Suns replied. "We are delighted that you find us agreeable. We have always admired the warrior people. Your resolute protection, courage in the face of adversity. We hope to learn from you." The alien commander remained silent for a moment, then spoke with sorrow. "We have been battling you, killing your people. For 50 years, We believed we were defending ourselves from demons. Of course, some of us were hurt in the process, but we understand that fear and miscommunication have spurred your actions. We do not hold you responsible. Jake surveyed the room. The Cathar warriors were slowly understanding that their fiercest adversaries had been attempting to establish friendship. Humans were facilitating dialogue between species, embroiled in a conflict born entirely of miscommunication. Now what? Jake queried. Dr. Fox was already packing his equipment. Now we implement proper communication protocols between the Ethereals and the Cathar Empire. Establish embassies, cultural exchanges, perhaps trade agreements. Zar was still transfixed. They desired to be our allies. They sought friendship, a whispered plea from a distant sun. If you will accept us, he gently urged. Jake smiled, witnessing the galaxy's most feared warriors confronting the stark reality of fighting the wrong enemy. Sometimes, the greatest victory wasn't won in battle, but in the courage to lay down arms and strive for understanding. The real conversation had just begun. 6 months later, Jake Morrison stood on Titan's edge, observing an impossible sight. A Cathar transport vessel docked with what appeared to be empty space, but Jake knew better. The Ethereals had established a dimensional embassy, existing partly within normal space, partly in the void between realities. Still hard to believe, isn't it? Lisa Grant joined him at the window. Her insignia now signified humanity's first ethereal Cathar cultural liaison, a role never before needed, yet now essential as 3 vastly different species learn to cooperate. Which part is harder to fathom? Jake asked. The fearsome warriors of the galaxy fighting diplomats for 50 years, or humans emerging as peacemakers? Lisa chuckled. Both, I guess, though Commander Zephyr seems to wrestle with this more than we do. Through the observation window, they saw the Cathar commander supervising the unloading of gifts for the Ethereals. Months had transformed the alien warrior, proud and strong yet freed from the relentless anger that had defined him. Pete Collins joined them, wiping his hands. He reported progress collaborating with Cathar and Ethereal engineers on groundbreaking technologies, melding the best of all 3 species. The joint translation project is exceeding expectations, he announced. We'll have near-instant consciousness buffers ready for mass production within a year. That will change everything, Jake affirmed. These consciousness buffers enabled any species to safely communicate with the Ethereals, allowing dimensional beings to contact civilizations across the galaxy without the fear and chaos that marked previous encounters. Dr. Fox materialized on the observation deck, carrying his ever-present communication kit. Captain Morrison, I wish to express my gratitude for your exemplary handling of first contact. Had you reacted with panic or aggression, we might have lost the opportunity for peace entirely. Jake shrugged. We simply did what seemed right, helping those in distress, attempting understanding, instead of shooting first. Such an approach is rarer in the galaxy than one might think, Dr. Fox responded gravely. The Ethereals had sought contact with 17 different species in the last century. The Cathar were the only ones who hadn't fled or worshipped them as gods. What had happened to the others? Some remained hidden. Others built entire religions. A few had destroyed themselves rather than accept such beings' existence. Dr. Fox adjusted his equipment as they watched Cathar workers. The fear of the unknown was a formidable force. Lisa monitored her communications device. Whisper of distant suns wishes to speak with you, Captain. Jake nodded, familiar with the ethereal communications' gentle touch through these months. The consciousness buffer felt like conversing with a friend in another room. Greetings, bridge builder Jake. The familiar mental voice echoed in his mind. We have news to share. What manner of news? The Cathar Empire has agreed to assist us in contacting 3 more species, the Ethereals relayed. They will act as protectors for our diplomatic missions where danger is anticipated. That sounds like something Zephyr would relish, Jake smiled. The warrior commander yearned for a way to constructively apply his combat skills. Protecting explorers and diplomats, instead of fighting them, felt more honorable than conquest, he asserted. Through the window, Jake watched Zephyr direct his troops with the same precision once used in battle, but now for peace. Lisa reviewed reports. I'm receiving data from the outer colonies. Initial ethereal cultural exchange programs are underway. Cathar scholars are collaborating with ethereal researchers on dimensional physics. Any obstacles? Jake inquired. Some Cathar are still apprehensive, and some humans are pacing themselves, but most seem enthusiastic about the prospects. Dr. Fox nodded. Change is frequently challenging, but the potential rewards are immense. The ethereals possess knowledge that could advance our understanding of the universe by millennia. And Cathar military engineering combined with ethereal dimensional science could resolve issues we didn't know existed. There is more, Whisper of Distant Suns communicated. We wanted to inform you that your species deeply impresses us. How so? Most physical species we encounter are ruled by fear. They see something unfamiliar and either flee or attempt destruction. Your people do something different. You see the unknown, and your instinct is to comprehend, to aid if necessary, even to befriend. This is extraordinarily rare in the galaxy. Maybe it's just how humans are wired, Jake mused. But we feel it's something more. It is a distinct bravery, not the bravery of charging into battle, but of approaching the unknown with open hands instead of clenched fists. Observing the evolving cooperation between three formerly alien or hostile species, Jake contemplated the future. What now? We explore together. We learn together. We confront the unknown together. There's a sensation akin to joy in the ethereal's mental voice. Perhaps we will find other species prepared to build bridges instead of walls. Commander Zephyr's voice crackled through the station's communication system. Human Captain Morrison, join us at the embassy. We are planning our next diplomatic mission, and your insights are essential, Jake smiled. 6 months prior, the proud alien warrior would have refused such a request. Now, he sought counsel from the individuals he once considered weak. I should depart, Jake announced to his crew. Duty called. As he walked toward the dimensional embassy, Jake reflected on the profound changes. The galaxy had shrunk yet expanded. It had become a community of disparate species learning coexisting. The universe wasn't hostile, it just lacked introductions. The stars remained unchanged outside the observation windows, but Jake knew better. In the cosmos, ancient beings moved with purpose and curiosity, not malice. Somewhere, amongst warrior diplomats and dimensional scholars, plans for a future beyond comprehension were unfolding. The galaxy was growing, and humanity, unwittingly, had become a vital instructor. The lesson was clear. Sometimes, the greatest strength was knowing when not to fight. It was a commencement. The stars beckoned, and for the first time in galactic history, 3 distinct species prepared to respond.